This conference will now be recorded.
So yesterday we discussed about currency creation for the leading ledger, right? We updated group currency for the leading ledger. We also updated hard currency for our leading ledger, which is nothing but your company code. Let's check that once again. Anybody remember the T code for ledger and currency settings in HANA? FINSC underscore what? This is very important T code in HANA.
Underscore ledger.
Underscore ledger. This is very important transaction. You must remember this T code. This is one of the key change that you have to explain in the interview if somebody is asking ECC to HANA changes. So here leading ledger company code settings. If you go to our company code TMIL, so we have used local currency, group currency, and then hard currency. So these two are nothing but at the end you will find second FI currency, third FI currency. Right now, one more thing which is pending for this is the accounting principle. So far, we have not created any accounting principle. We have not assigned any accounting principle. So this accounting principle we will create once we are done with the non-leading ledger creation and assignment part. Okay. So at the same time, for leading and non-leading, we will do the accounting principle concept. Now you will find another field called functional currency, right? Any idea what is a functional currency? Anyone? Any idea? No idea. Let's say you have a company code in India where you are not operating anything in India. Okay. When you are not doing any official business in India, which means whatever the dealings that you do in India are all only the paper dealings, right? So in such case, whatever according to Indian local requirements, you will be dealing with only the operating expenses for that particular country, right? Making payment for the local staff and local maintenance like rent and other operating expenses. Apart from this, there is no physical sale purchase, there is no physical cash bank transactions in India. So all the transactions which happen in India are mostly in the foreign currency, maybe in dollars or another currency. So in that case, your functional currency will become the currency in which your majority of the transactions are taking place. So especially countries like Dubai, Middle East countries, wherever there is a tax benefit. So in these countries, usually companies will set up an entity. They'll open a branch there and they will do their business operations from there. Like that let's say that Tata is a leading motor manufacturer in India. Assume that Tata will also have customers in nearby countries like Sri Lanka or Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the Nepal nearby countries. What they do, Tata cannot establish a plant there, right? So he will not manufacture there. So what he will do, they will simply set up Tata Motors Bangladesh or Tata Motors Sri Lanka in these countries, and they will directly sell in Bangladesh as a local entity, as a local company. So the moment they get the order from a customer in Bangladesh, let's say a customer in Bangladesh placed the order. Now, will Tata supply from Bangladesh or Tata will import from India? What Tata will do? Any idea? Anyone? They do not have any, plan. Yeah, go ahead.
Tata will import from India because they don't have any kind of plant in Dubai. So they receive order in Dubai and they will import from India.
Right. So if so our example was with Bangladesh, right? So what it happens the moment Tata gets a order from a customer in Bangladesh, Tata Bangladesh will immediately place the order to Tata India. Now, when Tata Bangladesh is placing order to Tata India, now Tata India will not ship the product to the Tata Bangladesh. To whom the product will be shipped?
Tata Dubai.
Product no, for the customer directly. If I put it in the Excel sheet, this here. Let's say you have Tata India. You also have Tata Bangladesh or Tata Sri Lanka. Okay. Now this is here you have a plan and here you have the stock. In Tata Sri Lanka, there is no plant, there is no stock because you don't have any stock keeping units or you don't have any storage locations in Sri Lanka. You don't maintain any physical stock there. It's only the financial transactions which take place. Now, let's say Sri Lanka received an order from customer, right? So when Sri Lanka received an order from the customer, what 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 happens? Tata Sri Lanka places order with what? Tata India. Correct? Now
Yes.
product will be shipped to customer by Tata India. So from India, product will directly reach the customer. Okay, so bill is generated from Sri Lanka to customer. So Tata Sri Lanka will give the bill to the customer and Tata India will generate bill to Tata Sri Lanka. This can be at at cost price transfer at the same price, or this can be at a little or a minor profit margin, depends on the company. So in this case, in Sri Lanka, there is no physical transactions, right? Agree? Correct? They're not literally dealing with any sales purchases there, apart from the regular operating expenses like sale, like your salaries, your maintenance cost. There is no other charges, right? There is no other transactions. Correct?
Yes.
Agree? So here, Tata Sri Lanka, because according to local guidelines, they may have, I don't know what is Sri Lanka currency. Anybody know the currency for Sri Lanka? Okay,
Sri Lankan
I'll say
rupee.
okay, SLR.
Yes.
Okay, assume that SLR is the currency, and for the India, assume that INR is the currency. So what they do is, and according to group, so they cannot use SLR, they cannot also use INR, right? So SLR is only for the local requirements because since they are operating in Sri Lanka, they have to follow the local accounting principles. For which what they do is they will create the transactions in SLR, only the transactions which are taking place in this, like your operating expenses and all, and any sales purchases which are happening, mostly they will be recorded in dollars. Mostly they will be recorded in dollars. So now since majority of the transactions like business transactions are happening in US dollar, this USD is called as a functional currency. This is also one of the point people might ask you in the interviews. So what is functional currency? Why do we need functional currency? Okay, if your client business transactions are happening majoritarily in the other currency, like apart from your local currency, and where there is no physical goods movement from that particular country, so it's only on the paper. Like, officially Sri Lanka is selling, but unofficially India is selling the product, right, to the customer, which customer is not aware of. Agree? He did not get the product from Tata Sri Lanka, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, there will be a functional currency only in that scenario where the company operates, from a different country only for the tax benefits purpose. Let's say if somebody is operating in Dubai, whatever they do, they don't need to pay any tax. And for the new startups, for the new companies, they will give different tax benefits. Only for claiming those tax benefits, they will enter this. And also there will be some other benefits like your the from the finance side, there will be different other benefits. Even I'm not exactly clear on this, but there are other monetary benefits. Only to claim those benefits, people will usually open the offices there. It is only a corporate office which will be there, but they will do all the transactions from there. They do have customers. They don't do any purchase. Their purchases are usually from their head office, their corporate. They purchase from the corporate, they sell to the customers locally. So in these kind of scenarios, usually the functional currency concept is used, right? So this I'll explain with a different example once we are on the transactions. So in the leading ledger, is it clear like what we have done? So the fiscal year posting period are directly coming from the leading ledger based on your company code assignments, company code fiscal year assignment, company code posting period assignment, and company code currency 10 is coming but automatically from company code setting. From where we brought this group currency? Which setting brought this? Anybody remember which setting brought this group currency? What did we do to get this group currency?
OKKP.
Setting client.
Right. No, we did controlling area setting. So after creating controlling area, when we have defined controlling area currency as group currency 30, automatically the group currency got updated in FI. Correct? Which is another change in S4HANA. Right, in ECC directly you can go and assign group currency, but in S4HANA, when you create the controlling area currency will be by default updated as the group currency. But you can change that group currency which is coming from the controlling area manually, but normally we don't do it because your group currency, your controlling area currency will always be dollar in the real environment. And hard currency, how did we get it? Now, if you see, you are getting AED here, Srinivas.
Yes, sir.
If you
Hello?
see, we are able to see AED here, right, as hard currency.
Yes, sir.
So maybe it did not update immediately in the table yesterday. So I've not done any changes. Even I'm looking at this now only. Sometimes, in this test systems, it takes time to get updated in the backend tables. Because these are all not real-time servers, right? So these are all, the IDAS servers. Sometimes the updating the tables may take a little time. Even in real time, when you do this kind of things, when you do sudden changes, if it is not reflecting immediately, the ideal solution is to log off and then log in. So normally what happens when you come out of the screen and when you re-enter the screen, so screen should get refreshed with the new data, updated table data. If it is not doing so, we may have to log off and then log in. Okay. So hard currency, where did we assign? From where we got the hard currency?
Country global parameters OY01.
Right. OY01 country specific settings. Right. Now what we will do is, let us create a non-leading ledger.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir,
yes, Srinivas, tell me.
we will continue in S/4HANA only. Complete
Yeah,
settings.
completely I'll show in S4.
Throughout this thing. Why? Because ECC also working. No, so
No, we'll do in S4 HANA only. So wherever there are new changes in S4 HANA, I will tell those changes like ledger and all. So
okay,
we will spend more time.
okay,
And once this is completed, the same ledger and currency settings I will show in ECC also.
okay, okay.
Okay. Once currently there is no person who is maintaining proper HANA server in the market. So once we get a once I find a proper guy who is maintaining the server decently, then I'll recommend that server details. Then we can take those servers for practice.
Okay.
Okay, because if now what is happening, if their S4 HANA is working fine, their Fiori is not working. If their Fiori is working, their LTMC is not working. If their LTMC is working, then their NWBC is not working. So something is having a problem, and they are frequently refreshing the data. Many people are frequently doing the system refresh, so all your data will be lost. Which is not good, right? So to the regular person, I told that he is working on it. Fiori is not working with him. So if Fiori is not working, then we don't do it. We don't need it. And if you use remote desktop, it is working fine, but remote desktop, it works very slow.
Yeah.
So there are different challenges currently. So once the problems are solved, maybe in a week or so, I'll recommend or I'll arrange servers for everybody for HANA. Okay. Right. So now what we will do is, let's create a non-leading ledger. So what is the non-leading ledger that we wanted to create? We wanted to create TM as a non-leading ledger. Now, to create a non-leading ledger, you just have to go to ledgers, click on the ledgers here. You will find all the ledgers here. And from these ledgers, just add a new entry. Add a new entry, give the ledger name that you want to create. What ledger we are trying to create? TM. Give this TM. And all this information will be part of your business blueprint document when you are working in a project. So say exactly like this, you will do a copy paste. Right? Tata non-leading ledger. Instead of Tata, let me take THER. Okay, so that it will be easy for us to identify. That's okay. Right? Tata non-leading ledger. Now, do we need to tick this leading?
No.
We should not tick this, because leading ledger is always 0L. Okay, you are not supposed to change leading ledger from 0L to any other ledger. So it has to be strictly 0L leading ledger. Any additional ledger that you are creating is a non-leading ledger. So if you tick this, this will become leading. If you do not tick this, it will become non-leading. Since we are creating a non-leading ledger, we leave it blank, and the ledger type is a standard ledger. In S4 HANA, you have another thing called extension ledger. So in ECC, you only have standard ledgers. So in ECC, there is no such a drop down. So you will have only the standard ledger. So the concept of extension ledger, we will discuss once we are good at the postings. Okay. So this is a standard ledger and extension ledger type. So under extension, there are again different categories for what purpose you are using this extension ledger. So we are not using extension ledger. So I'm simply taking standard journal entries. And there is no underlying ledger. The concept of underlying ledger also I will explain once we are good at the transactions. When you are able to post a transaction, when you are able to differentiate the transactions between leading ledger, non-leading ledger, and the reporting for leading, reporting for non-leading, data comparison between leading ledger, non-leading ledger. Once we are good at this, that time you will understand underlying ledger, extension ledger with one-line answers. So I'll make you understand with a simple one-line examples. Right? There is nothing much in this. Usually, many people they don't use this functionality. Right? So valuation view, you can take legal valuation, which is 0, and these things are not required. Accounting principle we will assign later. Only these things are sufficient. Let me just hit enter. I will save this. Okay. Okay. Now, one more point that you have to understand is the moment you create any ledger with the same ledger name, there will be a ledger group created. Okay. Whenever you create a ledger, if your ledger is TM, system also creates TM as a ledger group. Right? That is what the message it says. Ledger group TM is created only with ledger TM. So what is this ledger group is? You can club 2-3 ledgers in a group. If you have 5 ledgers, so if you wanted to post a document only for the 2 ledgers, so with these 2 ledgers you can create a ledger group, and at the ledger group level you can post the transactions. So this again I will show during the transaction posting. Alright, now you have created a non-leading ledger. Let's see whether there is any company code assignment to our non-leading ledger. So select this non-leading ledger. Click on company code settings for the ledger. Do you find any company code assigned to this ledger? Is there any company code assigned currently? No, right?
No.
So you need to add your company code or you need to assign your company code. So normally what happens for this company, like whatever the company that we have for Tata Group will always have a same logic for the leading and non-leading. So for their leading, it is always 0 ledger. For their non-leading, it is always TM ledger. So whenever you create a new company, automatically that will be assigned to your leading ledger, and you need to manually assign that ledger to the non-lead to your company code, which means you need to come here, add a new entry. You can add multiple company codes here. So in short, if you have 10 company codes, 10 company codes leading ledger will be 0L, 10 company codes non-leading ledger will be TM. So many people will tell if there are 10 company codes, there will be 10 non-leading ledgers. That is wrong. So there will be a single non-leading ledger which is used by 10 company codes. And there is no point of data duplication because your data is always posted at the company code level. Correct? The key point for anything in SAP is company code. Agree? So you cannot record any transaction if you don't input a company code. Am I right?
Yes.
So there is no point of data duplication if the same ledger is being used by different company codes. Right? Now what is our company code? TMIL. Now the moment I give TMIL, I hit enter. What is happening? By default, the system is taking T minus TMIL, which is leading ledger fiscal year, leading ledger posting period. But according to our scenario, for non-leading ledger, what is the fiscal year that we are trying to use? April to March, right? For April
Yes.
to March, what is the fiscal year? T plus. So you need to manually change this to T plus. Okay. And then posting period variant. For posting period variant for the non-leading ledger TM, we wanted to use TMNL. So here also you change this to TMNL. So are your currencies coming automatically for the non-leading ledger? Do you see that currencies are coming automatically, right? So we are not adding currencies manually here. So only the currency that you can change for non-leading ledger is your hard currency. Third currency you can have different if you have a separate requirement. Right? Now additional currencies you can add here if you need any other currency apart from these three. So additionally you can add up to 8 currencies. If you open this, these are your freely definable currencies. If you wanted to have a reporting in some other currency also apart from your local currency, group currency, hard currency, if you need any other currency requirement, you can define that currency as a freely definable currency, which is additional currency, for which you will have to define a currency type here, okay, and then assign a currency to it, and then finally bring that currency here. This we will see later, because this is something which is not used, though there is a functionality given by SAP. Most of the clients are okay with the 3 currencies. Now let me save this. Now ledger related settings are completed. Next thing what we need to do is we need to assign the accounting principle for this. Now you have 2 ledgers, right? What are the 2 ledgers that we have? Go back, go to ledgers. Now, 0L is one ledger, and what is the other ledger? TM. Why are we using 0L? Why are we using TM? Why we are using 2 ledgers?
One is for local reporting, one is for
One is for local reporting and the other one is for group reporting,
group
right?
report.
Now, any reporting that you are doing, whether it is local or group, is always based on some accounting principle. Correct? Huh? Any reporting that you do is strictly based on one accounting principle, right? Like if you are in India, you may have to do all the reporting based on Indian Companies Act. Correct? Huh? Or Indian Income Tax Act. If you are doing the global reporting, group reporting, you'll have to perform all the reporting based on the IFRS accounting principle or US GAAP accounting principle. Is this right?
Yes.
Now, according to what accounting principle you are preparing the financial statements for TM? That is something which we'll have to assign in the accounting principle. And this assignment of accounting principle concept is mandatory in S4HANA, whereas this was optional in ECC. Whether you do the accounting principle assignment for the ledger or not, in ECC it will not create any problem. So that was optional in ECC, but it is mandatory in S4HANA because your asset accounting is dependent on accounting principle. Clear? So in asset accounting, you will find a problem if you are not doing this accounting principle assignment. So this becomes mandatory thing in S4HANA. So let us first create the accounting principles. So for that, SPRO, SAP reference IMG, financial accounting, global settings, ledgers. Here you will find parallel accounting. Do you find parallel accounting? Open the parallel accounting. Here do you find accounting principles? Right. So here you need to define accounting principles. If you want the T code, go to additional information, display key. No, there is no T code for this. So this is the table name. So click on this, define accounting principle. Now here you can add the accounting principle of your choice. So since this is the practice system, many people create the different things. So what we will do is, let me add a new entry. I want 2 accounting principles. One is, since ours is Tata, I'm using the T, ICA, I'll say Tata Indian Companies Act. Okay. So maybe whatever it is. Next one, Tata IFR, right? Tata IFRS. Clear? Just the definition of a 4-digit code and the description of that particular accounting principle. Save it. So if you are having 3 ledgers, like 1 leading, 2 non-leading, you must be having 3 accounting principles. Right? Go back. Accounting principle is nothing but purpose of that ledger. Why are you using that ledger, whether it is a leading or non-leading? Now, I will go back. Now you will find assign accounting principle to the ledger group. If I go here, add a new entry. What are the 2 accounting principles that we created? Indian Companies Act and IFRS. So IFRS, for which we are going to use, for leading or non-leading?
Non-lead.
IFRS.
Leading.
Leading. Leading.
IFRS, I think we will be, let me just check. So group reporting, we will be using dollars, and local reporting, group reporting, we will be using US GAAP or IFRS. For local reporting, we will be using Indian Companies Act. So in short, the 0L is used for the group reporting and TM will be used for local reporting, which is non-leading ledger. So for the IFRS, let us assign leading ledger. And for the Indian Companies Act, let us assign TM. If I hit enter, clear? Because IFRS is a common accounting principle for all the company codes. Whether you are operating in India, Singapore, Sri Lanka, US, Malaysia, Dubai, wherever you are operating, your US GAAP or IFRS will be mandatory for your group consolidation purpose. So that is why for leading ledger, it is always recommended to go for your group reporting or IFRS. For the non-leading ledger, it is recommended to go for non-leading for local reporting, because in every country there is a different accounting principle, right? Correct? Like you have Indian Companies Act in India. Maybe if you go to Dubai, there may be a different accounting principle. In China, there is a different accounting principle. In every country, they have their local reporting. To meet this local reporting requirement, we will be using non-leading ledger. Right? So that is where you can assign another accounting principle, and you will be assigning that to TM ledger. So based on the company code, you will understand, okay, this company code non-leading ledger is based on this accounting principle. Now once you do the assignment here, you can save this, and once this is done, we have to go back to the ledger. First one, enter, go to the leading ledger, company code settings, go to our company code TMIL. Now accounting principle, what was the accounting principle for leading ledger? Tata IFRS, right? IFRS is the accounting principle for this. So when you open this leading ledger, when you pull this company code, you will get to know what is the accounting principle used for this ledger, or according to what accounting principle this ledger data is being prepared. So you will get to know, okay, this is based on IFRS. So I want reports based on the Indian Companies Act. Then I'll get to know based on the accounting principle. If I look at the accounting principle, it says IFRS. If your requirement is to pull the report for the Companies Act, then you will get to know by the accounting principle field. So go back, pick the non-leading ledger, and go to company code settings. And here, which accounting principle? Companies Act, right? So I'll give Indian Companies Act and then save this. Clear? Any doubt in this? Alright. So once the ledger settings are done, there is one more setting here which we will have to do, that I will tell you. Even if you forget that what other settings are mandatory which you have not done, we go to ledger. There is something called execute consistency check for general ledger settings. Do you find this setting? Correct? Huh? So this is one setting that you will have to execute in S4HANA to see if there are any other settings which are missing. So if there are any mandatory settings which are missing for your company code, so system will give that here. So if you see there are many red icons, so from this you will have to look whether there is your company code or not. What is your company code? TMIL.
TMI.
So you'll have to check whether TMIL or your ledgers are reflecting here as errors. So these are all the errors. You'll have to check if you find TMIL here. You find a TMIL, so there is a TMIL here. What message you are finding for TMIL? So it says document splitting is active in company code TMIL. Activate profit center accounting in chart of account, in controlling area TAGR. So now you know that profit center is part of new GL even in ECC, correct? Yes, no? In classic GL, profit center was part of controlling. From new GL onwards, profit center is part of your FI. So, so in S4HANA, if you are using document splitting, usage of profit center accounting is mandatory. In ECC, even if you don't activate profit center accounting, you can still perform the postings. But in S4HANA, is it allowing? Your company code itself is on the red list, right? Correct? So activation of profit center accounting is mandatory if you are using document splitting in S4HANA, whereas this is optional in ECC. Right? So this is something that we'll have to do. And any other thing for TMIL. So you don't have to remember all this. If you come to this consistency check, this is the T code. FINS underscore CUST underscore CONS underscore CHK. No need to remember this. You can go through the path. You'll have to look at your ledgers, your company code. So far we got one error. Let's see if there is any other error. TMIL. So there is one more error here. THER is also ours only, right? What is this THER error?
Version.
So version 0 of CO area TAGR is not assigned to any ledger. So normally what happens in ECC, data of FI, data of CO are two different things. So FI data will be stored in separate tables, CO data will be stored in separate tables. So that is why there was no connection between your FI and CO with respect to ledger. But now in S4 HANA, what happens, your FI and CO both are part of your single table or single ledger, which is normally universal ledger or a universal document. So with which what happens, any transaction that is getting posted to accounting. So accounting now in S4 HANA includes both FI and CO. If there is a financial transaction, whether it is FI or it is a CO, so it will come and sit in your universal table. Okay, what is that common table? What is the standard table in S4 HANA? Anybody remember? Which table your transactions will get stored?
AC Doga.
AC Doka. Right? So let me put this here. These tables are also important. People will ask you this also. Like you have ECC, you have S4HANA. In ECC, there are two options. Classic GL. What is the other one? New GL. In S4HANA, there is only new GL. There is no concept of classic GL in S4HANA. So, any idea where your classic GL data will get stored in ACC? What is the table?
GLT0.
Right, GLT0. And what is the table for new GL?
FAGL flexed.
FAGL Flexa. In S4HANA, it is AC document. Now this is your financial accounting, general ledger, flexible. A stands for actual. In place of A, you will find P, you will also find T. A for actual, P for plan, T for total. Same way here, AC DOCA. What is the full form of AC DOCA? So AC stands for accounting, doc stands for document, A stands for actual. In short, it is your accounting document actual. Actual data. Actual data is the transaction which is posted, not planned. So combination of your planned and actual will be total. So this table you'll have to understand. Since your S4HANA records all the financial transactions in AC DOCA, so it requires ledger assignment for the controlling version, because the way you have a ledger in FI, the same way you will have a version in CO. Any transaction that you record in CO will be stored in a version. So in FI, what is the standard ledger? What is the standard ledger in FI? Standard ledger or default ledger. What is that in SAP FI?
0L.
0L. 0L is a standard ledger or a leading ledger. Same way in CO, the standard version is 0. If somebody is asking what is the default version or what is the standard version in CO, then your answer should be 0. By default, your company code will be used, or your company code will be assigned to version 0. If you want the other version, you will have to create a different other version. Maybe for planning purpose, for actuals purpose. Clear? Now there are two errors. So we need to make sure that there are no errors with respect to our company code in this. You see many people configured, but they do not know the impact of this. Majority of the company codes are appearing here. Correct? Like this, if you proceed, if you do any transactions, you will be under trouble. Like, you will never understand what is going wrong. All the settings, all the transactions that we are posting are incorrect, because there is some inconsistency here. These inconsistencies you will have to check. Now, the first one is the activation of profit center accounting. Any idea, anybody, how do we activate profit center accounting? What is the T code for it? Anybody remember the T code? Same T code like in ACC. Whatever the T code we had in ACC, it is the same.
OKKP.
OKKP is for controlling area, but for activation of profit center, which begins with 0. 0K E. What is the next digit? E5. Okay, that is not O, that is 0. 0K E5. If I go to 0K E5, it is asking me to input controlling area. What is our controlling area? TA GR.
No one?
In TA GR, do you find this active tick mark here? Do you find active tick mark here?
Yes.
There is no tick mark here, right? Is it ticked or it is unticked?
Tick.
If it is unticked, profit center accounting is not active. That was the message that you are getting there. Please activate profit center accounting because system found that this profit center accounting is not activated. Now, where normally we activate this? We usually activate this in OKKP, correct? Go to OKKP. Okay, fine. I go to my PAGR. Come here, activate components. Here is where you will do the activation. But do you find anything called profit center here? Anything
No.
called profit center? No? Okay. So look at how many ticks are there. Everything is not active here. There are only ticks for, these are other indicators. So no other tick here, right? And I'm coming out of this. Now here we need to maintain this setting. So standard hierarchy for profit center. For cost center, what was the hierarchy that we have taken?
PMGR underscore C.
PHER underscore CCH. CCH like cost center hierarchy. Here it will be PCH. Profit center hierarchy. Clear? And next one is the profit center local currency type. This is normally either controlling area or group currency. So let me go with group currency. Okay, dollar. Now this is for which view? Your profit center accounting is used for legal valuation because you will be generating financial statements at the profit center, right? At each product level. So it will be a legal valuation. So by default, we will be going with legal valuation only. And here you need to tick this active indicator, which means profit center accounting is activated. And this is the standard hierarchy for it. And this is the currency for your profit center accounting. Now save this. Now with this, you are not supposed to get that error. So if I go to consistency check again in ledger, where did we get? Even if currencies are not properly defined, you will get like this errors. Currency fiscal year is empty. So that error is now no longer available. Only one error you will find is PAGR, correct? The profit center accounting is please activate document splitting, that is now removed, correct? So here in this error message, document splitting is active. Do you find PMGR or TMIL? Is your company code reflecting?
No.
No, right? So since we activated profit center, that error disappeared. Now let's go to OKKP. Let's see if there is any change in the control indicators or activate components. Any other tick you are able to see here? Any other thing is active? No, right? Any other tick got activated here? Yes, no?
No.
It is as it is how it was before activating profit center in 0k E5. Remember this T code. Tomorrow I will open S4 HANA system, or let me open ECC. Let's see if this is working. Sorry, I need to change the 25 SAP. So 25 SAP or 24 SAP. Okay. If I go to OKKP, do you find profit center accounting here in ECC? This is your ECC
Yes.
screen. This is your ECC screen,
Yes.
and this is the HANA screen. So if you see, everything remains as it is. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 check boxes. Here only 4. What is missing? Profit center is missing, right? Now profit center is no longer part of your controlling area activate components. It is part of a different configuration, 0k E5. So in ECC, you can, if you activate this will be active by default. But in S4HANA, this has to be activated at controlling area level with a different configuration, 0k E5. 0k E5 is there even in S4HANA, even in ECC. But in ECC, you can activate profit center accounting with this checkbox here also. But this is now removed in S4HANA system, right? So I'm minimizing this. Now that is completed. What is the next error we got? CO version 0 is not assigned with any ledger. Go back. For this, you'll have to open integration of controlling with financial accounting. Everything is under ledger. Everything is under ledger. So your ledger configuration has to be done very accurately. Leading, non-leading ledger, currency assignments, your CO assignments. Only then you will be able to configure your company code post the transactions exactly like real environment. Otherwise, you will find lot of errors. Sometimes you will never realize that you are doing in a wrong way. So let's open this integration. Here you will find a path called define ledger for CO version. So open this. These are not needed. Only this one. Define ledger for CO version. This is mandatory. Now if you come here, so you need to add a new entry. Add a new entry. If you are not sure how to add a new entry, you can always copy standard 0001. Click on copy. Or you can click on new entry. What is our controlling area? THER. What is the standard ledger? What is the standard version?
0L.
0L.
Version is 0. And then ledger is 0L. Clear? That's it. For your controlling area, for the version, you'll have to update ledger 0L, which means leading ledger data will be updated for version, or CO data will be updated for leading ledger. Save this. Now, if we go back and check for the inconsistencies, let's see if we still find any other inconsistency. Let's do this. There's nothing here. So, if you come down, just check if you find anywhere TMIL or THER, either company code or chart of account controlling area. PQRST, there's nothing. Ledger, nothing. Posting period variant. Now, is your company code or your CO area disappeared from here? THER. Earlier it was there, right?
Yes.
So now, with respect to leading and non-leading ledger, all the settings are properly defined. Now, this is the only change. This is one of the major change with respect to HANA from ECC, because there are some additional settings that we have to do. So once we complete the other settings from tomorrow onwards, when we post a document, when we see debit credit postings, then we will define another company code. That is where I will list out all the steps in the Excel sheet. Yeah, that is where the second time you will be watching everything, then you will have a clear understanding. Alright, so by that time, so we'll make sure that you will have the S4 HANA system access. So start practicing everything in HANA only. Clear, right? Now with this, leading and non-leading ledger settings are completed. And even if you want to see the, since we are on the same screen, financial accounting global settings, if you go to ledger, there are only 3 settings here, right? In ECC, if I show the same thing, SPRO, SAP reference, financial accounting new, global settings, ledger, ledger. Right. If you see the ledger here, so define settings for ledger and currency types. Here you have ledger and currency activate. 3 in 1. All these 3 are clubbed in the one node here. Right. So cost of sales accounting, these other things are eliminated in S4HANA. You can see the differences, right? If you go to the same path, this is your ECC on the right hand side, left hand side, you can see the S4HANA system. There are some changes. So these changes is what you have to have a note. And if somebody is asking, be very confident to tell that, with respect to ledger in ECC, there are multiple steps. Now in S4HANA, these steps are clubbed into single T code, FINSC_ledger. Now in ECC, with respect to currencies, you will define here. You will have to add first currency, second currency, third currency manually here. But in S4HANA, we were doing everything in the same T code. Correct?
Yes.
All the currencies are updated here only. So I take this. So all the currencies are here itself. Now you have at the right side fiscal year posting period. This fiscal year posting period are here. Define and activate non-reading ledger. I pick any one ledger. So right side, if you see, this is your fiscal year and then posting period. This is non-leading ledger. Currency 1, currency 2, currency 3. Same is in this same node, right? Under ledger, you will have to pick the non-leading ledger, go and do the same setting. So things are same, concept is the same, but the representation is changed in S4HANA. The way you look at it is different from HANA point of view. The way you look at it is different from ECC point of view, but the concept remains the same. Clear, right? So once so tomorrow, once we complete the other settings, which are all common from ECC to HANA. So after this, whatever we have, like your tolerances, whatever the other things, are all same like your ECC. Whatever we have done in ECC, it is exactly same in S4HANA. There is no change. Then we will post a document. Maybe tomorrow we will be done with all the settings. I think what settings are pending. Non-leading ledger currencies are done. So now we are left with only, we have done tolerances and all. So all the settings are done now. Almost all the settings are completed. We only need to create master records. Then tomorrow we will talk about a different master data. What is cost center master data? What is profit center master data? What is GL master data? What is document type? What is number range? Right? Then we will create some transactions. Then we will check how your entries are getting reflected. What is AC DOCA table? How data is going to AC DOCA table, and do we also see data from the classic tables like your BKPF, BSEG and all. So these comparisons we will see from tomorrow onwards. Clear? So tomorrow we will close all these settings, so that day after tomorrow on Thursday, it's on Friday, right? So which means on Friday we will be posting the transactions in HANA system. And once we post the transactions, we will see the reports and all. That is when I will configure another company code for same Tata group, or I'll configure another company code where I will give you the detailed screenshots and I'll give you the detailed T codes, so that you can follow the same document or same Excel sheet which I will share you after the end of this session for your practice. So maintain this similar Excel sheet. So not now, when we start the second company code. When we start the second company code, have your same Excel sheet like this. And what you do is, you also have the same thing. Create your own data here. If it is Tata, you replace Tata with any other name. So assume something. Make sure that you are able to draft all this on your own. Only when you are able to draft this, tomorrow if somebody is asking you in the interview, sometimes, in the interview, people will simply give you a scenario. Like let's say Tata is operating in India currently. They also have operations in different other countries. How do you set up the org structure? They will simply ask you like this. So they will expect you to talk about leading ledger, non-leading ledger, one company code, one controlling area, one chart of account. All these points they expect from you. So you must be in a position to explain them all these points. So that comes only when you are able to draft this kind of information on your own. So this is mandatory. Not now. So once we are done with this, when we do the second company code, that time I will explain everything in a different Excel sheet. So same Excel sheet, you have your own copy. Keep your data updated there. So I'll update the table names, T codes, everything, whatever is important from the real-time point of view, from a project point of view, and from the interview point of view. Every point I will update in the Excel sheet. You do not have to note anything during the session. Just to focus what we are discussing. So everything I will write, I'll take the screenshots, update in the Excel sheet. I will share right after this session. Clear?
Sure.
Yeah. So alright then. So we'll continue the remaining settings tomorrow. So I think all the settings are done. So we are left with master data and then transaction data, which we will complete tomorrow. Right. So we'll connect at 8 o'clock tomorrow then. Either 8 or 8:30.
Sure. Thank you.